Did you know that the life of Pontius Pilate, the man who sanctioned the crucifixion of Jesus, ended in a mysterious and tragic manner? Imagine being at the center of history's most debated decision and enduring the aftermath in isolation. Pilate was the Roman governor of Judea, and he is discussed in several historical and religious texts. What became of him after that pivotal day? This narrative blends information from the Bible, historical accounts, and traditional tales. Pilate is referenced in the 4 Gospels of the New Testament, which detail his reluctance and eventual agreement to execute Jesus. His interactions with Jesus and the intense demands from the Jewish leaders are depicted in Matthew 27, Mark 15, Luke 23, and John 18 and 19. Additional insights about Pilate's administration in Judea come from Flavius Josephus, a Jewish historian, and Philo of Alexandria, a Roman philosopher. Integrating these varied sources provides a more complete picture of Pilate's intricate personality and his involvement in the crucifixion. To grasp his story fully, one must examine the sacred texts alongside the complicated political and societal pressures of his era. Stay tuned to uncover the unsettling and remarkable tale of the Roman governor who determined Jesus' destiny. Pontius Pilate faced a great quandary as the Jewish religious authorities pushed for Jesus to be crucified, accusing him of blasphemy. Yet Pilate saw no fault in Jesus, John 18:38. He made several attempts to set Jesus free, even proposing the traditional Passover pardon of a prisoner, but the masses chose Barabbas instead of Jesus. Matthew 27:1, 15-26. Despite his hesitation, he succumbed to the public's demands, symbolically washing his hands as a sign of disclaiming any guilt in Jesus' condemnation. Matthew 27-24. This act would resonate through the ages as a symbol of evasion and injustice. Furthermore, the biblical account emphasizes that Pilate attempted various strategies to calm the crowd, including the scourging of Jesus. He hoped this lesser penalty would be enough to appease the Jewish leaders. Luke 23:16. This act didn't just determine Jesus' fate, it also signified the start of Pilate's downfall, with his decisions and their ramifications becoming subjects of scrutiny and debate for generations. Pilate understood the volatile political climate of the region. Jerusalem was teeming with Passover celebrants, and the presence of Jesus, deemed a prophet by many, only escalated the tensions. The religious authorities charged Jesus with promoting rebellion against Rome, Luke 23:2, a severe accusation that under Roman law could warrant death. Caught in a precarious situation, Pilate faced a dilemma. Releasing Jesus might provoke a Jewish uprising, but condemning him meant sentencing a man he believed to be blameless. To prevent an uprising, Pilate eventually acquiesced to the demands. Unbeknownst to him, this choice would shadow him for the remainder of his life. While the Bible leaves Pilate's inner thoughts unrecorded, his deeds reflect a man grappling with immense pressure, striving to uphold justice while preserving peace. Historical records suggest that the repercussions of this decision weighed heavily on him, shaping his legacy. Historically, sustaining stability in volatile provinces like Judea demanded a careful balance of power, as any sign of weakness could be exploited by Rome's adversaries. In this complex context, Pontius Pilate found himself facing decisions that could lead to severe political and social repercussions. As he presided over the trial of Jesus, his wife, Claudia, experienced a troubling dream. She urgently sent him a message, cautioning him to distance himself from the righteous man, Matthew 27:19. This event is uniquely noted in the Gospel of Matthew, and the origins and implications of her dream are enveloped in mystery. Some scholars suggest that it was a divine intervention aimed at averting the crucifixion of Jesus. Claudia Procula emerges in the scriptures for only a brief moment, yet her involvement accentuates Pilate's ethical quandary. Her distress over the dream, which she perceived as a divine caution, underscores the gravity of the situation. Disregarding this premonition would prove to be a grave error, one that would haunt Pilate indefinitely. In Christian tradition, Claudia Procula is venerated as a saint in some sects, underscoring her significant role in the narrative of Jesus' passion. Moreover, her character is often seen as embodying the voice of conscience, intervening during a profound moral crisis. Her eerie dream introduces a mystical element to the trial, suggesting that forces beyond human understanding were influencing the events. Under Pilate's command, Jesus was crucified, and the inscription on the cross declared, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." John 19:19. This notice was written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek, signifying Pilate's assertion of the charge that Jesus claimed kingship, constituting an act of treason against Caesar. As Jesus endured his suffering, Pilate was tormented by doubts and guilt. The crucifixion, a pivotal event in the Gospels, unfolds with vivid descriptions of the spectators' reactions and extraordinary occurrences such as darkness at midday and the tearing of the temple veil, Matthew 27:45-51. These phenomena further burdened Pilate's conscience, suggesting the divine innocence of Jesus. The narrative indicates that the crucifixion transcended a mere earthly episode, marking it as a cosmic battle between good and evil. Crucifixion in historical context was a punishment meted out to the gravest offenders, meant to serve as a public display of disgrace and torment. Despite his misgivings, Pilate's decision to carry out this execution underscores the intense pressures and complex dynamics of his political and social milieu. Following the crucifixion, Pilate became haunted by his choice. The crowd and religious authorities had coerced him into this decision, a fact that gnawed at his conscience relentlessly. The words of Jesus, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do," Luke 23, resonated deeply with Pontius Pilate, exacerbating his growing sense of guilt. Each day, the weight of his actions became more oppressive, leading to unbearable remorse. While the Bible does not detail Pilate's emotional journey post-crucifixion, it is reasonable to infer the profound psychological impact of his fateful decision. According to Christian tradition, Pilate was never able to escape the heavy burden of his role in Jesus' death, which profoundly affected his later life. Apocryphal Gospels and traditions, such as those upheld by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, provide more insights into Pilate's deep-seated guilt, depicting him as a figure consumed by remorse. His symbolic act of washing his hands failed to relieve the moral burden he carried, and he likely relived the events of that critical day repeatedly. In the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition, there is even a belief that Pilate converted to Christianity, an act seen as his acknowledgement of guilt and a search for redemption. While this view is speculative and not widely accepted, it underscores the enduring impact of his decisions. After Jesus' crucifixion, when the guards at the tomb reported Jesus' resurrection, Matthew 28:4-5, Pilate faced further turmoil. The Jewish leaders and Pilate were thrown into disarray. He attempted to control the situation by bribing the guards to spread falsehoods about the events, Matthew 28:12-15. However, the news of Jesus' resurrection quickly spread, deepening Pilate's agony. For Christians, the resurrection is a cornerstone of faith, robustly affirmed in the Gospels and the epistles of the New Testament, 1 Corinthians 15:3-8. For Pilate, the resurrection posed a crisis of legitimacy. If Jesus had indeed risen, it not only substantiated Jesus' claims to divinity, but also marked Pilate as the executioner of an innocent man. His efforts to suppress the resurrection narrative highlight his struggle to maintain control and sanity in the face of extraordinary and logic-defying events, challenging both his authority and the Roman order. Additionally, the widespread growth of Christianity in the years following, including the conversion of numerous Jews and Gentiles, magnified the repercussions of the resurrection and the impact of Pilate's decisions. His attempts to quash the truth about the resurrection illustrate the ongoing struggle between the secular authority of Rome and the nascent spiritual influence of Christianity. Emperor Tiberius received mixed reports regarding the happenings in Judea, placing Pilate in an increasingly precarious situation. He was already facing criticism for his harsh governance and lack of sensitivity towards Jewish customs. Historical figures such as Flavius Josephus and Philo of Alexandria depict Pilate as a harsh ruler whose decisions frequently stirred resentment among the Jewish population. One of his most infamous actions was the utilization of temple funds to construct an aqueduct, which sparked considerable opposition from the Jewish community. The situation deteriorated further when Pilate was summoned back to Rome to explain his actions. His governance came to an abrupt end after a violent incident involving the deaths of Samaritans on Mount Gerizim. This episode, along with his overall management, prompted his recall by Lucius Vitellius, the governor of Syria. Once in Rome, Pilate underwent a stringent review of his conduct, resulting in the termination of his political career. The political ramifications of his tenure in Judea had profound consequences, both for him and for the province he once ruled. The political upheaval in Judea during Pilate's rule and his subsequent downfall underscore the intricacies of Roman governance in far-flung provinces, where the imperative to uphold Roman authority often collided with local customs and the desire for autonomy. Upon his return to Rome, Pilate was subjected to a thorough investigation. Emperor Tiberius was incensed by the unrest Pilate had incited in Judea. This provided an opening for Pilate's political adversaries, who took advantage of the situation to undermine him. He was stripped of his authority and exiled. His wife, Claudia, continued to be plagued by nightmares, while Pilate, overwhelmed by remorse, withdrew from public life. It is believed that Pilate was not formally tried, but rather compelled to step away from his duties. Some apocryphal texts, like the Acts of Pilate, present alternate views of his life post-crucifixion, often depicting him in a state of regret and seeking penance. The circumstances of Pilate's death remain enigmatic, with different traditions proposing various endings to his life. Regardless, historical accounts depict him as a figure whose decisions profoundly and enduringly affected both his own fate and the course of history. The scrutiny in Rome probably centered on his inability to sustain peace and his flawed governance, illustrating the tangled interplay of power and politics within the Roman Empire. Pilate, who had once wielded significant influence, ended his days powerless, secluded and dishonored. A poignant irony for someone who had attempted to secure his position through acts of injustice. The demise of Pontius Pilate remains steeped in enigma, with various accounts hinting at a tragic end. Some historical sources suggest he may have ended his own life, overwhelmed by the burden of his past decisions and the disgrace of his exile. Eusebius of Caesarea, a 4th century church historian, records that Pilate met his end during the rule of Emperor Caligula. However, Roman historian Tacitus does not offer explicit details about Pilate's death. Within Christian traditions, there are differing narratives about his final days, with some suggesting that he embraced Christianity prior to his death. Medieval and Renaissance literature, such as the Golden Legend, popularized the tale that Pilate met a tragic fate in Gaul, where his body was cast into a river. Regardless of the specifics, his death is widely regarded as a tragic conclusion for a man central to the crucifixion of Jesus. Over the centuries, Pilate's story has served as a canvas for exploring themes of guilt, redemption, and justice. If the accounts of his tragic end are accurate, they might be seen as his ultimate act of despair and remorse. Conversely, the narratives about his conversion to Christianity could be interpreted as his attempt at seeking forgiveness. These varying stories emphasize the challenge of discerning fact from fiction when dealing with historical figures entangled in events of profound religious and ethical importance. Pilate has evolved into a black legend within Christian history, often depicted as a feeble and pliable figure who lacked the fortitude to defend his convictions. This portrayal serves as a reflection on his complex legacy, illustrating how deeply his actions have resonated through history and moral discourse. The life and end of Pontius Pilate serve as poignant reminders of the enduring consequences of our decisions and the perils of succumbing to external pressures. In the Gospels, Pilate is depicted as a governor who, despite acknowledging Jesus' innocence, capitulated to the demands of the crowd. Over the centuries, Christian tradition has largely condemned him, though some apocryphal texts paint a more sympathetic picture of his character. Pilate's wavering and ultimate choice to proceed with the crucifixion have spurred extensive theological and historical discourse, underscoring the moral and ethical complexities of his involvement. This notorious portrayal of Pilate warns of the hazards of yielding to pressure at the cost of justice and truth. He is often juxtaposed with other historical figures who have encountered similar ethical crossroads, with his narrative serving to underscore the value of courage and integrity. During Holy Week, many Christian traditions recall Pilate as a symbol of how cowardice and injustice can lead to catastrophic results. Moreover, Pilate's tragic tale invites profound theological contemplation. Standing before the Son of God, he failed to grasp the truth. His inability to administer justice exemplifies human fallibility and challenges us to reflect on our own choices and the importance of steadfastly adhering to the truth. Throughout history, theologians have pondered Pilate's role in the Passion of Christ, often using his example to explore the tension between justice and expedience. His act of washing his hands, attempting to rid himself of responsibility, is frequently interpreted as an emblem of a troubled conscience trying to escape accountability. In sermons and religious teachings, Pilate's story is leveraged to emphasize the necessity for moral fortitude and ethical resolve. Pilate's narrative serves as a stark reminder that, when faced with challenging decisions, we must summon the courage to act justly, even at the risk of personal repercussions. Christian theology views Pilate's character as emblematic of the conflict between good and evil, with his inability to recognize and respond to the truth about Jesus serving as a caution against moral indifference. Moreover, Pilate's story invites introspection, urging us to assess our convictions and strive to uphold the principles of justice and truth. Pilate has been a focal point in numerous cultural works, embodying the eternal human struggles of duty versus morality. His internal conflict and pivotal role in the crucifixion of Jesus have been depicted by artists and authors across the ages, ranging from medieval religious art to contemporary literature. Notable literary interpretations include José Saramago's The Gospel According to Jesus Christ, and Mikhail Bulgakov's The Master and Margarita, where Pilate is portrayed as a profoundly conflicted figure, torn between his obligations and his ethical beliefs. In visual arts, he is frequently depicted in scenes of Jesus' condemnation, his expressions capturing a spectrum from doubt to resignation, reflecting his deep internal turmoil. These artistic portrayals underline Pilate's lasting influence on collective consciousness, emphasizing his historical and theological importance. He also features prominently in various representations of the Via Crucis, offering moments for contemplation on themes of power, justice, and human frailty. The realm of theatre and cinema has further delved into his character, often highlighting the ethical quandaries he encountered. Pilate's multifaceted character allows for a rich exploration of universal themes such as authority, accountability, and the possibility of redemption, resonating with audiences across different cultures and eras. During Holy Week in Christian tradition, Pontius Pilate's figure is prominently remembered. His role is frequently revisited in sermons and theatrical portrayals of the Passion of Christ, where he exemplifies the dire consequences of cowardice and injustice. In liturgical practices, Pilate is specifically mentioned in the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed, affirming that Jesus suffered under Pontius Pilate, underscoring his pivotal role in the narrative of Christian salvation. This inclusion serves as a pedagogical tool to underscore the perils of injustice and the lack of moral courage. The remembrance of Pilate during Easter celebrations acts as a poignant reminder of the repercussions of human actions, emphasizing the ongoing need to pursue justice and truth in all situations. His figure is often associated with the notion of unjust judgment within many Christian traditions, using his story to highlight the critical importance of justice and righteousness. In some liturgies, Pilate is also invoked in prayers as an example of human frailty and the essential need for divine grace to surmount our ethical challenges. The life and legacy of Pilate offer profound lessons on responsibility and integrity. Faced with a momentous decision, he opted for the path of least resistance. His narrative serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that our choices carry significant consequences, not just for ourselves, but for everyone influenced by our actions. Pilate's character is commonly utilized in educational and moral discussions to emphasize the necessity of acting with justice and bravery. His indecision and capitulation to external pressures illustrate how a lack of moral resolve can lead to catastrophic outcomes. Pilate's story resonates across various domains, from political ethics to personal morality, urging us to adhere steadfastly to the principles of truth and justice. In discussions on ethics and leadership, Pontius Pilate often serves as a compelling case study, underscoring the critical need for integrity among those in positions of authority. His failures provide a cautionary tale against complacency and the tendency to follow the path of least resistance, forsaking moral rectitude. Pilate's story provokes reflection on personal actions and the imperative to uphold justice, especially under significant pressure. Today, the lessons from Pilate's story are profoundly relevant. In an era rife with uncertainty and conflict, the call for just and courageous decisions is emphatic. Pilate's tragic narrative is a stark reminder that truth must stand firm, even against formidable odds and adversity. His example is frequently cited in contemporary dialogues about leadership and ethics, emphasizing the difficulty of maintaining moral integrity amid political and social pressures. Pilate's experiences warn of the perils of complicity and injustice during crises, underscoring his enduring relevance and the timeless nature of the lessons he imparts. His story is also invoked in debates on justice and human rights, illustrating how inaction can lead to grave consequences. Pilate's figure is a continual reminder of the necessity for moral courage and the importance of steadfastly advocating for truth. The universality and timelessness of the moral quandaries he confronted urge us today to seek justice and righteousness in our actions. Furthermore, Pilate has permeated popular culture, featuring in movies, plays, and literature, where he is depicted in various lights, from a cold antagonist to a tragic figure overwhelmed by circumstances. These portrayals keep alive the fascination with a man who played a pivotal role in one of the most significant events in human history, continuing to engage and challenge audiences to ponder the complex interplay of duty, power, and morality. Movies like The Passion of the Christ and Jesus of Nazareth delve into Pontius Pilate's complexities, presenting him as a nuanced character grappling with issues of power, justice, and remorse. These films are part of how popular culture keeps Pilate's figure relevant, allowing for fresh interpretations and deeper understandings of his historical role. His character also plays a significant role in literature, where themes of authority, regret, and justice are explored, showing how Pilate continues to intrigue and resonate with modern audiences. Moreover, Pilate frequently appears in Easter theatrical productions around the globe, where his actions and decisions are re-examined and reinterpreted in various creative ways. These diverse portrayals in popular culture mirror shifts in societal values and perceptions, illustrating how each generation reassesses his legacy in the context of contemporary issues and ethics. This ongoing relevance underscores his importance in discussions about power, morality, and the ramifications of human actions. In Christian tradition and the broader collective consciousness, Pilate's legacy is powerful yet fragile. He is remembered not just for his actions, but also for his inactions, particularly his failure to defend truth and justice. His inclusion in the Nicene Creed and the Passion narratives ensures his pivotal role remains a focal point in Christian teachings. His story serves both religious and educational purposes, offering lessons on morality and the weight of responsibility. Pilate's memory acts as a continual reminder of the dilemmas faced by those in authority and the critical importance of making righteous decisions. His story, emblematic of how fear and lack of moral courage can lead to unethical outcomes, also invites reflection on the nature of judgment and responsibility. Thus, his decisions and their consequences are discussed not only in historical terms, but also as essential case studies in ethics and leadership, highlighting the enduring impact of his figure across times and cultures. The tale of Pontius Pilate serves as a stark reminder about the importance of upholding integrity and bravery, no matter the situation, highlighting that our choices reverberate through time. Pilate's narrative deeply influences Christian beliefs, urging us to ponder our societal duties and the repercussions of our decisions. He emerges as a poignant figure whose legacy continues to educate and caution us. Within Christian teachings, Pilate's involvement in the narrative explores themes of sin, redemption, and justice, central to grasping the significance of Christ's sacrifice and the concept of salvation. The enduring influence of Pilate underscores the critical nature of his decisions and the enduring lessons they impart. His example is also leveraged in educational settings to discuss the crucial roles of accountability and ethical conduct. Pilate's story demonstrates how power can lead to corruption and how failing to uphold moral courage can result in catastrophic outcomes. It prompts us to consider our actions and the necessity of maintaining justice, especially under significant pressure. Pilate's impact on Christianity is profound, continually reminding us of the need to pursue truth and justice in all situations, thereby enlightening us about the potential for redemption and forgiveness. Pontius Pilate, the figure behind the decision to crucify Jesus, encapsulates a blend of authority, culpability, and regret. Reflecting on his life and demise reminds us of the critical need to make equitable choices and confront truths, however challenging that might be. The story of Pontius Pilate serves as an everlasting lesson that our actions have lasting impacts, emphasizing that pursuing truth and justice must be our paramount goals. His character reflects our own moral and ethical quandaries, pushing us to act with integrity and bravery, no matter the situation. Pilate's narrative compels us to examine our responsibilities and the influence our choices have on both the present and the future. His life teaches us about the potential for redemption and the critical importance of seeking truth, regardless of how challenging or contrary to popular opinion it might be. Pilate remains a powerful symbol in our collective consciousness, underscoring that justice and truth should consistently be our top priorities. As we contemplate the life and demise of Pilate, we are urged to introspect on our own decisions and the duty we hold to uphold justice and integrity, no matter the external pressures. We have come to the end of our video, and I hope you found it enriching. If you seek inspiration, knowledge, and a deeper spiritual connection, don't miss this chance. Subscribe to our channel now, hit like and comment to help our community grow. Together, we can make a difference and enhance our spiritual journey. Your support is crucial. Keep watching for more videos about biblical history. I'll leave 2 recommendations on the screen. May God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.